What's going on, everybody? You know what time of week it is again. It is that time for another episode of the Make Money and Have Fun show. And this week, we are breaking records. You know why? Because this week, I have my first ever female entrepreneur on this show. So I'm thinking I should probably do a Women's Month very soon. I actually had this kind of tragic realization. Recently, I started a mastermind, and the mastermind is probably the greatest thing I've invented for 2021. And when I was looking for people to recruit into this mastermind, I found 8 guys. And then I looked at it and I was like, crap, there's literally not one female in this entire mastermind lineup. And then I started looking through my Rolodex and I'm like, man, I need to find more female rock star entrepreneurs. And guess what? I found one, and she's here to talk to us today. Now, here's the deal. If you're streaming us live on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you're at right now, show us some love. Give us some thumbs up. Give us some hearts. Let us know that you're in the house, you're ready to rock, and you are ready to have a fantastic time. In addition to that, in the comments section down below, you'll see that you can actually comment live. And the cool thing is we can actually bring your comment right up on screen, just like this. So if you have any questions for today's guest, if you want to ask her anything, if you have any questions about entrepreneurship or about your business, just ask them down below in the comments and let us know, and we'll answer your question for you. On that note, we need to get started on the Make Money and Have Fun show.
My motto in life is make money and have fun. I'm on a mission to show everyone how to make money, yeah, and have fun. I'm all about making money and having fun.
Do I have enough like flashy stuff going on for this show or what? Like if I could have fireworks and all that kind of stuff, I probably would do that too. I just have so much fun. I have a blast making this show, and I hope you have a blast watching it as well. Now, let me tell you about today's guest, because she has some really cool stuff that's gone on in her life and that she still has going on. So Shadoe Gray. Shadoe Gray is in nearly 40 years as an entrepreneur. Shadoe Gray has lived many lifetimes in many industries, through her own businesses and through the hundreds she has started for her clients over the years, beginning with her first business at, check this out, age 16. At 16 years old, she had her first business, a secretarial service for entrepreneurs she named Entrepay. Cool name. I love that. Which stood for entrepreneurs getting paid. Look at that. Shadoe has always had that business owner drive. In her few stints as an actual employee, she was always that one who went to the boss with a better way to do things. Reminds me of myself. Shadoe said, finally, after being told yet again that if I thought of it, I could do it better, that I should go do it, and she did. Since then, Shadoe has made a successful living developing successful strategies for herself, her employees, and her clients, and is currently in development with major players to launch a nationwide product to spread that success system to licensees across the U.S. So please help me welcome Miss Shadoe Gray. What's up, Shadoe?
Hey, Posimo. How you doing today? You're such a dork, I swear.
You start off with laughing on this show. The laughter comes later. At least let me tell a joke first, and then you can laugh.
Okay, stop. I'm in a straight face now. Stop.
All right, yeah, this is a very serious show. There's no time for laughter here.
Okay, no more laughter.
I need to know your business analytics, your numbers. We're going to get very technical with this crowd here because that's what they want to hear.
Okay.
I love it. Shadoe, what's going on? What's up in the world of Shadoe?
Everything is fantastic, and I'm just doing amazing, but every day I'm going to get better.
Nice.
So things are going gangbusters. I quadrupled my business in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic.
Nice.
And I did the same for many of my clients. So I feel on top of the world right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. I always tell people, I think that we all really have the same goal. And that goal is we want to make each day better than our last.
Absolutely.
That's basically what you're saying is every day you wake up, you're rocking and rolling. And now you know me. So now it makes your days even better, I presume, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that was the goal for the end of 2020 was to find Fred Posimo and know him. And hear him.
Awesome. I'll send you that money that I owe you for that little testimony that you gave me. I love it. So Shadoe, I always start this show off the same way. I ask all my guests the same question. I want to know from you, what is your story?
I have a really interesting story. And I think I have to say, telling my story is something that changes all the time. And it's something that I tell my clients too. Every day your story can change. It all depends on who you're talking to and what you want it to be that day. Because sometimes my story is one way based on the situation that I'm in, and sometimes my story is another way based on how I'm feeling that day and wanting to move myself in a certain direction. So I would say that for today, my story is I have been an entrepreneur for 40 years, and my goal is to help people reach the pinnacles that I have reached through the methods that I have incorporated in my life. But sometimes my story is I started out at 16 after I walked out of my high school at 15 and a half as a high school dropout, and I decided that that wasn't going to be the label that I put on myself, that I was going to be an entrepreneur because I came from an entrepreneurial background with my family. So your story can be anything you want it to be, and today that's where I'm going.
I love that. I love that. That's such a cool take on that question. Just because I feel like lots of times, we always say that perception is reality, but a lot of people miss the fact that in a lot of ways we have an ability to dictate other people's perceptions of us, right? That's why I wear these flashy jackets and I got all the lights and cameras and all this fun stuff for the show, because I want to look a certain way to people. It's mainly because I'm conceited and I need more love in my life. That's about it. Don't tell my girlfriend I said that. I love it. I love it. So Shadoe, you walked out of your high school at 15 and a half. What was going on? I got to hear that story. That's got to be something. Did you see something that you wanted? Was it inspiration? Was it desperation? Tell us the story. What happened?
Well, I kind of was the social outcast. I was the fat kid and the social outcast. I was the artist, the creative one that kind of kept to myself, and also I was a little bit above it. I IQ tested at the age of 14, and I was 147, which is genius level. And I don't say that to brag, but I kind of was bored in school all the time. I felt like I was reading See Jane Run all the time, and I didn't test well. But that was because I was bored. I wasn't challenged. And I didn't have any friends or anything like that. So at 15 and a half, which was almost the end of my freshman year, I just left. And I decided that it just wasn't for me. And I never did take any GED or anything like that. So even to this day, I don't have a high school diploma. Now, mind you, I have taught college courses. And I have taught at the business college level, but I never went back to high school, and I've taken a few college courses, but not a degree.
Yeah. I love that. I resonate with that story so much. It's funny. I feel like you've already read my book. So I have a book, Make Money and Have Fun, coming out in the spring, and it talks about just that. This kind of character or archetype that I describe through, a metaphor of round pegs and square pegs, people that fit in and people that don't fit in. And I was always in the same boat. I mean, I graduated high school, barely, but it's that feeling that you get inside of you where you're like, I don't really think I belong here. This isn't right for me. And it's kind of not jiving for whatever reason. And then the worst part is, at least for me, it was, you look around, you see other kids and you're like, why does it work so well for them? I don't get it. And so I can totally resonate with that story. And I think that really exemplifies the type of people who I love having on this show, because those are the people that go out and they make money and they have a blast and they do all kinds of cool stuff. So tell us a little bit about that. You're out, you're 15 and a half now. You're basically on your own. What the heck was the next step for you? What happened then?
Well, luckily, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My grandfather was a very successful businessman. He owned a construction company here in Southern California, and I would spend a lot of days in his office, and I would sit in his big chair and feel like I was the queen of the world while he was out in the yard with his men, and my mom was there, who was also an entrepreneur, and she would be doing his books. And to me, that was just the way things worked. You ran your business and people worked for you. And that's what I was taught. To me, that was school. And at that time, I developed my first business, which was Entrepay that you were talking about. And I started, my mother's business was a litigation firm, which I now own. My mother retired and then passed away. And when she retired, I took over that business, and I still own it to this day. And I started doing secretarial work for the attorneys that she represented. Mm-hmm. So I started that business at age 16. Now, back then I was using electric typewriters, so the technology has come a long way since then, but I still own that business to this day. That's Bolster.biz, which is my business services and VA company that I still operate now 40 years later. So that's how I got started, was by providing secretarial services to the people that were her clients.
Cool. I love that. So let's kind of fast forward to today a little bit. Tell us about that company, Bolster.biz. So I saw one of the things is everything you do is U.S.-based VAs, right?
Absolutely. In fact, we're called an outsourced resource, which is a little misleading. People think that means that we provide outsourcing of our services for other people. But what we are is we are the outsourced resource for them. So say you need a VA, we are the outsourced resource for you. I have a team here that are the VAs and the business service providers. We provide all of our services in-house with my own in-house team, with the exception of the people like attorneys and accountants that are the professional level licensed services. We do outsource those only to vetted United States companies that we are partnered with. We don't just randomly choose people. So mostly it's not VAs. We do our specialties are branding, social media marketing, and lately we do a lot of book launches and work with a lot of authors. There are about 600 books launched every week in the United States. And so we represent a lot of those people. So everything that we do is United States based.
Excellent. I love that. So it's interesting because I feel like one of the crazes, especially since like 2007 when Tim Ferriss wrote the 4-Hour Work Week, is all about VAs, right? It's like it kind of took us by storm. But I love that what you do kind of puts a little product differentiation in there and allows, I feel like, I guess, more security for your clients and stuff like that. They can just feel kind of safer and happier that they know that they have somebody who is reliable. But I also kind of want to look at the other side and get your opinion on it. What are your thoughts of like the Philippine-based VAs and stuff like that? Is it necessarily bad to go that way, or what do you kind of think of that realm?
Well, I wouldn't put down any service provider. There's a reason that they are there, and there are a lot of reasons to use them. A lot of times people use them for the budget. Okay, there are problems with using somebody in another country. One of them is time zone. One of them is language. And I take on a lot of people that have used other countries' VA services, and then I have to fix their problems. One of the issues is a language barrier that isn't necessarily language, it's more of a culture barrier. Now, especially whenever you're in a situation where you're trying to market or sell a problem, things are different in other countries than they are in the United States. A lot of methods are different. And I find that the translation of that process is an issue. Now, if you just need data entry, if you need word processing, if you need things that are not an issue of process that needs to be translated, then by all means use that. But do take into consideration that when you deal with the United States company, you get someone like myself who is your administrative manager, because you get an executive director like myself that oversees your project, and that is included. And then you get a virtual assistant or a service provider who understands what you're doing on top of providing a task. In the Philippines or in India or in another country where people are highly skilled at providing a task, it's only the task that you get, not the understanding of the why.
I love it. I think that's the perfect description of it. I've found that for a lot of my own branding, putting this background here, the logo there, all that kind of stuff. It sometimes, you go through multiple iterations when you're dealing with somebody overseas, and it, for me, it kind of made me put me in a project manager role. And it's like sometimes entrepreneurs don't want to do that. They just want to run their business. They want to do their thing. So if they bring someone like you on, it's like, hey, I'll take on that project manager role, or as you called it, an executive director role, and see to it that everything is done to your vision and to your specs, in a sense, which I think creates a win-win-win at that point. I love it.
If you had something, for example, like if you had that drawn on paper and you just needed someone to execute it, by all means, then use somewhere else. But if you needed somebody to help draw that out of you and you just had a concept in your head, then you need to work with somebody in the United States. And it's just, it all depends on the project. There is a place for both. Absolutely.
Got it. Yeah, I think that's really a very clear distinction of that company. But Shadoe, we got to talk about something fun right now. So you were actually telling me this before we went live today. So in between this whole outsource resource and the 16-year-old secretarial service, you did something really cool and really fun. What was your business? Tell us about that.
Part of what I did in the middle was, as I mentioned, I was the fat kid in high school, and I've always been curvy and sexy because, that's just part of who I am.
That's why I have you on the show. People got tired of looking at me.
That's the only reason, you chose me because I'm so cute.
We have like 100 views right now, and I've never had this many before. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's the big blue eyes, that's all. In 1997, I was curvy and successful and everything, but I was single. And I didn't feel that there was anywhere that I could go to be admired and meet somebody. So I founded and created the world's first nightclub for plus-size women. And I opened that club. It was called Club Curves. The venue was named Moxie. And I founded that club and received worldwide media attention for that. I was in People magazine and on every major talk show. Jay Leno talked about the club. I received more than 700 requests for franchise opportunities around the world, most especially in Hong Kong, of all places.
Wow.
The club was extremely popular. I owned venues all over Southern California, and I ran that club for 21 years. I just sold my last venue 5 years ago. The club was extremely, extremely popular, made a lot of money, and changed thousands upon thousands upon thousands of lives. It was so much fun, Fred. It was truly the definition of make money and have fun.
I bet.
I changed lives. It was amazing.
I can't believe I haven't got to go to one. In 1997, I was 3, so I might not have been allowed in at that time.
Well, now there are clubs like that all over the place. I closed my club because, it was the first, it was the original, it was the best, but over the years, society changed, and now, big girls can go anywhere they want to, and society is different. But at the time, it was a scandalous idea, And I think that's part of the reason that it worked. And, just like there are gay bars and, all different types of things, now there are big girl clubs. And so there are places to go, and everybody can go everywhere. And that's why we live in this great country.
Yeah, I think that it's amazing when you see things take off like that. It's really interesting because it's almost like the things that kind of teeter the line are the most viral things oftentimes, where it's like if they're very politically weighted or very sexually weighted, kind of in your case, things like that, it's like they could either, take off or not. But I think that they have a better chance of doing that being in that space. But that just sounds super fun.
Absolutely. And I wish people would listen to what you just said. Don't try and be like everyone else. Everyone else is already taken. Go to the edge. Be yourself. Be authentically yourself. And don't be afraid. I've got the kind of the nickname Shadoe Gray, because all of the successes that I've made in my life, in my business life, have been when I am not afraid to fail. That is part of being an entrepreneur. You have to be willing to fail. It is part of your job when you decide to go out on your own. You will not succeed every time. If you are in business to succeed every time, you are in the wrong business. It is not going to happen. Do not be afraid to fail. When you fail, learn from it and move on. Just take a risk. And the riskiest ones are the biggest payoff. Because when they succeed, you are on top. And I have lived that. Absolutely.
I love that. That's something that I always like to bring up. As I've mentioned to you, I've had some major guests on here, some people who really have very large followings. And I've always been more intrigued with the millionaire story of when they lost it all. It's like, it's cool to talk about the fancy cars and their biggest deal that they ever did and this and that. But for me, it's like, I want to know about the low times. Like when was the worst that it ever got, and how did you get through that? And the cool pattern that you see is that everybody has had it. It's like, I haven't brought on one guest who's like, yeah, I kind of just started it and it grew from there. It's like, you throw something into left field and you hope that it lands where you want it to land. And most of the time it doesn't. And then you're learning, one, what did I do wrong? And two, how can I maintain my sanity under this pressure, in a sense? What was that like for you, Shadoe? I mean, what was your moment where it was like do or die, I guess, in a sense, that you kind of had to overcome and see what happened? Talk to us about that one.
I hate to burst your bubble, but I am going to be the first one to tell you that I didn't have that. I really didn't. Because from the beginning, I had multiple streams.
Okay.
I always had, for each business and each stream, I definitely had that. So yes, you are correct.
Sure.
If you rely on one business, that is going to happen. But I had other things. For example, I had my business services company, and it hit roadblocks for sure. But in '97, I started my nightclubs. So when the business services company had an issue, the nightclubs would support me. And then in 2000, which was only 3 years after the nightclubs, my mother retired and I took over her business. So I had that going. So I had the nightclubs, the litigation firm, and the business services company going at the same time. And I had things going on at all times. So I certainly would tell people that's what you need to do. However, there was a time that I lived in hotels because that was my only option. So, I certainly had times where things were lower, but I didn't have any, drop down really.
Right. Bankruptcies, none of that kind of stuff.
No, I did not face those things.
Sure.
So I would certainly say to avoid that, you definitely, no matter your circumstances, have multiple streams of revenue. You can't put all of your eggs in one basket. Even today, I absolutely believe in that.
Yeah, I think that's such a valuable lesson in there. So I started off, my first entrepreneurial endeavor was in real estate investing.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And
yeah.
and that's one of like the first things that you're taught in that industry is multiple streams of income. It becomes like almost like this cliche buzzword for like a year, and then the second year it just becomes annoying, like
Yeah.
hearing it so much. But it makes so much sense. I always tell the story that in 2018, I basically built my real estate empire up, and by the winter of 2018, it came crumbling down. And the biggest problem that I had was that was my only source. I was kind of like, swimming in the ocean by myself, and sharks were coming around, and I'm like, I got this. And then I realized I didn't got this. and I told the story last week on the show, but it's true. I was in Las Vegas at a seminar, and I literally opened up my bank account 3 days after my 24th birthday, I'm sorry, 3 days after my 24th birthday, and I had $57 in my bank account, in my savings, in my checking, in my credit, and to my name. Like, there was not another penny between the cushions of my car seats, and I still had another day left in Vegas. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get to the airport, take an Uber to the airport. And I asked my friend for $100, and it took me like 3 to 4 months to pay him back $100.
Wow.
And it's like, looking at it now, you're like, how can it get that low and that serious? And today it's similar, but I got the real estate, right? So it's like I dug myself out of that hole, made it into 2021 somehow. We all did, right? and now it's like I have that thing. I have that life raft that's kind of holding me up. So if you have those baskets of income, those different things, you can get yourself through the day. I have a sandwich here. I can eat. I can make it through the day. Because that's what I always tell people. The funny part is I get a lot of blowback on that brand, make money and have fun. A lot of people, it's funny because they kind of give me grief on the money part. A lot of people say that, oh, you should have fun first and then the money. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Money is a timeline. It's not a monetary number, it's a time number. And if we're running on fumes, if we don't have an income coming in and we have $1,000 in savings and we spend $1,000 a month, you have 1 month left to live, or you got to go make some more money, because we don't hunt anymore, right? So money has replaced hunting for us. So we only have that timeline available to us, and money becomes our sustainability. And so now it's like I can sustain myself through the months as it grows and gets bigger. So I love that you brought that up. That's so cool, and I think a really important lesson for everybody who's watching us to just hear and kind of check out.
On top of what you just said too, for those people that think you need to have fun and then make money, how much fun are you going to have if you're not sure that you're going to have a place to live or food to eat next month? Mm-hmm. And if you don't have money coming in and you don't have the security of knowing that your bills are going to be paid, or you'll have a roof over your head, or that your family is going to eat, how much fun are you going to have? I mean, it all starts inside here. It all starts in your brain. And I do it this way. Okay, you want to go from here to here, here to here. And if you don't have it here, you're not going to get it here. So you have to start with money. You have to make money and have fun. They're both important, but there is an order to it, and it's make money and have fun.
Exactly. It's a sustainability. You can have fun today, but you can't sustain that without any income coming in, right? If you have the income coming in, you can sustain your fun for as long as you want. And whatever your fun looks like to you, it could be buying fancy cars, getting a big house, going on vacation, spending time with your family, whatever it is. Money allows that to be a sustainable thing, and it allows it to, kind of cycle on and continue and be consistent for you. So we're in the right place at the right time, right, Shadoe?
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah,
So,
even with COVID going on, we're in the right place at the right time. This is an unprecedented time. Okay, even though we're in the middle of a pandemic, there's a lot of opportunity in a pandemic. The pandemic is a reset button to me. It is absolutely unfortunate, the health problems, and absolutely. And I don't downplay that in any way, shape, or form. I have friends that have lost their lives to this horrible, horrible virus. But as a whole, for the world, it is a reset button. A lot of people are reconnecting with their families in a way that they never have before. And a lot of people have expanded their businesses to include a virtual platform that they never considered before. So there are a lot of things that are going on, and I want business people, entrepreneurs, to realize the opportunity and not feel so defeated or feel that they have to put things aside. They can bring things in and expand with the pandemic. And it's an unprecedented time. I have found a way. I reinvented myself in 2020 due to the pandemic. And a lot of people can do that. I mean, I've helped so many of my clients reinvent themselves and, double and triple their business because of the pandemic. So, don't be a defeatist. You have to look at all sides of things.
Exactly. I wanted to bring this up earlier when we talked about Club Curves and your nightclub that you did. So Gary Vaynerchuk wrote a book. It's called Crush It, and it actually shows up really cool with my green screen on there. And one of the funny things about this book that he mentioned is he talks about, he uses a story of somebody who doesn't believe they can be an entrepreneur because they don't think that their business idea is good enough. And he tells the story of, as an example, if you wanted to sell bottle caps as your business, and you think that you can't because you think, who the hell's going to buy a bottle cap, right? But it's simply not true. Like you said earlier, making a club for plus size women or whatever it is, whatever your obscure, oddity, strange thing is that isn't really mainstream. You're not making another McDonald's. You're not making another Facebook platform. You're not making something that is very popular, right? But you're making something that's a little bit unconventional. Go for it, right? Do that thing. That's the thing that not only should you do, but you have to do, because it's going to show you so much about the power of entrepreneurship and how that really works. And I think that that's really what you're talking about with what's happening in this pandemic. It's, it comes back to the philosophies in Think and Grow Rich, the greatest book ever written. It's like, we can look at this as an obstacle, or we can look at it as an opportunity. And depending on which way we look at it will depend on what happens to us and our business. And I find myself beating myself up some days where I'm like, man, I was doing all these different things before the pandemic hit. But then I'm like, wait a minute. I started the Make Money and Have Fun show right in the middle of the shit show that was going on outside. And this was the greatest decision I made in 2020. This is the coolest thing that I did, just got me in touch with some of the biggest people that I thought I could never get in touch with. And it's just been a blast doing it. And so I think that when we change the meaning in our head, everything else changes from there.
Yeah, it's not just a pandemic. It is a reset. Mm-hmm. We all changed. I was never on camera before 2020. I never video chatted. It just wasn't my thing. And I was uncomfortable. I didn't like the way I looked on camera. And I was forced to all of a sudden go, oh, okay. Oh, there's ways that I can tell Zoom to touch up my appearance. Oh, I didn't know that. Because I'm really an old hag in person. But I can make the StreamYard make me look good. Oh, look, that's so cute.
Exactly.
It's like, I wouldn't even have known that if it wasn't.
I actually don't look like this. I'm actually bald and have no beard. So this is all just Photoshop.
Well, that's because all of my fans would mob me in person if they knew what I really looked like. So, I just want to make sure that, the filters mask my appearance.
Exactly. I'm the same way. I'm actually really camera shy. This is my stunt double just filling in for me.
So there are a lot of things that happened, and it also, now I have clients all over the world. I have people in several parts of Africa. I have clients in Canada and in New Zealand and in London and in Asia now that I never would have reached if there wasn't a pandemic. And it's been amazing for me. I've really expanded my reach because of this.
I love that. So what's next for you, Shadoe? What's the next big Shadoe Gray move that we got going on here since you're doing all this expanding and growing?
Well, the next move is mismanagement. Prior to moving to Lake Elsinore, which is where I live in Riverside County, Southern California, just outside of Los Angeles, I lived in Los Angeles County, and I was putting together a pitch for a reality TV show. A lot of people have heard of Bar Rescue. Bar Rescue, the gentleman, the expert, goes into bars and he discovers what's wrong with them, fixes it, and out comes a very successful, beautiful, money-making bar. So mismanagement is a similar program where mismanagement, would come into a business and discover what was going wrong with the management of the company and the operations of the company, fix it, and would a successful business emerge from that show. And that was the show that I was going to pitch. But I realized with my businesses, I didn't have the time to devote to that, because when you have a reality TV show, it does take up a lot of time. So I didn't pitch it. And then unfortunately, I realized or found out that my son was terminally ill and he was going to pass away. And he did. And things changed for me and I moved out of the area. So now I live in Riverside County, and that went to the back burner. Then the pandemic happened, and I realized, with my newfound love of the camera and the microphone, that mismanagement, the show, could now become a podcast and a video show and then be streamed on streaming TV. So the concept has been changed to be one where the same thing can happen, but it's going to be like a call-in radio show, video show, where people can call in with their business questions on a one-on-one basis, where I can tell them in my way, because I'm a bit of a smartass, let's just put it that way. And I can tell them, here's what you did to mess up your business, and here's how you can fix it. So, and I'm going to challenge people to stump me with their questions. My niche as mismanagement and in general is that I don't have a niche. I'm a business generalist. I have worked in so many different industries that I really have not been stumped with a question. And I'm not, as you know, afraid to fail. It's okay if you stump me. That's okay. I just learn, because I'll get an answer for you. So the show is going to be a little bit Shadoe, a little bit Howard Stern, a little bit, a little bit smartassy, and very straight from the hip, straight shooter. And that show is going to be coming out in the next couple of months.
Cool.
Do you want to see my avatar, my character?
Absolutely. Of course I do.
I don't have it electronically, but I can show you her. Can you see her?
Yeah, we can see her. Look at that. There she is. She knows all your business. Look out.
Yeah, with a little smart ass tone. She knows all your business. And she's going to put it out there for everyone to hear.
I love that model, just that whole idea. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. I spent a lot of time in theater in high school and in plays and shows and stuff like that. I never had stage fright. So, I've always been comfortable in front of a camera, in front of an audience, and I like being there. And I've also done a couple of movies before. So, whenever people are talking to me about the media, about TV shows, about movies, my ears always perk up. Me and my girlfriend are both big movie buffs as well. And so it's like, this is so cool. So I'm excited to see mismanagement come out. I almost think of like like Dave Ramsey when he rips people up in the
That's
ratings.
the name I couldn't think of. Yes, like Dave Ramsey. I'm old, so I said Howard Stern. So, but Dave Ramsey is the current person that I would compare myself to.
Yeah, because he's no bullshit. It's just straight from the hip. He'll rip you up. He'll tell you what it is and that kind of stuff. And I think you'd be perfect for that role.
Yeah, because I will do that, but I also will give them the answer.
Of course.
I genuinely want to solve the problem for them. So I'll tell them what they did wrong. Here's what you did wrong, because I don't want them to do it again. So I will tell them, here's where you messed up, and here's how you can fix it. And I think it's going to be a fantastic show. Now I just have to find the right co-host, because I want a co-host to temper me a little bit, or to be the other side. But,
right, the good cop, bad cop kind of a thing.
Kind of, yeah. But it has to be somebody with as much business knowledge as I have. So
sure.
So that's going to be tough. But
yeah, you got 40 years and 16. You're up there.
Maybe you can be my co-host.
Where do I audition?
Well, you're auditioning right now. That's the whole purpose of this.
Oh, there you go. Well, tell me where to sign.
There you go.
I'll take my average fee, and nothing more.
Okay. Yeah. So I won't pay you more than your average fee. So.
Exactly. You probably won't pay me less either.
No.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I'd definitely be happy in co-hosting anything. I'm okay in front of the camera, right?
Yeah.
It's blurry now. I don't know why it's all blurred up. Focus. There it goes. Comes back. Oh man, that's exciting. Shadoe, I am looking forward to that show. If you want me to co-host, let me know. Teresa says very cool. I think she's going to be tuning into that show as well. And if you need it, if you're out of questions for a week, just let me know, and I'll pretend to be people, and I'll call in with these random questions, and then you can beat me up. I'm messing with you. This is awesome stuff, Shadoe. So Shadoe, let's wrap up here a little bit. What do you want to leave our attendees with? What's the Shadoe Gray words of wisdom that you want to step away with?
I have to tell people that I have a philosophy about labels. For people, you have labels. You put labels on yourself. I just labeled myself as old. Okay? I'm not old. I am old. And that's a label that I put on myself. And that's a label that other people put on me. I'll be 60 pretty soon. But that's a label that I can change every day to experienced, to very experienced, to successful, to whatever I choose. And you may have labels on yourself like fired. Maybe you got fired from a job. Maybe you have divorced, or whatever your labels are, you can change them, just like you can change your story to fit the situation. I want you to realize that whatever your labels are, they're just sticky notes on you, and you can change them. You can change the color, you can change the words, and you can change them during the middle of the day. You can wake up a secretary, and you can, after lunch, be an entrepreneur. You can be a successful entrepreneur. You can be anything that you want. Labels are temporary and they're changeable, and you can change them. You don't have to accept what other people say about you. And I want to leave people with that. Labels are temporary, changeable, and you should change them all the time. Please do so.
Even I'm sitting here thinking now, I'm like, what labels am I carrying around? What kind of baggage do I got going on? Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Shadoe, this has been so much fun. Thank you for being here. Thank you for creating history on the Make Money and Have Fun show. How was it being the first woman entrepreneur on here?
It's about time. And I've been watching you, and I've been like, what's up with the woman hating here? So you just got the
hate. There's no hate here.
You just got the bro club. Yeah, but hopefully I've started a trend, because there's amazing female entrepreneurs out there. I can suggest a few for you. And no, we're all just incredible entrepreneurs. You just happen to have a circle of men around you, but I can open that circle for you, Fred. I know that you respect all of us. You've shown me nothing but respect in all the time that we've been around. So, so no, I tease you, but you've shown incredible respect, and I absolutely adore you and what you have done. You are an incredible young man, and I'm honored to know you. And thank you for having me on your show. I've really enjoyed it, and I enjoy all of the things that we have done together. And I'm so excited to be in your mastermind. Thank you for inviting me to that as well.
Of course, you're in the mastermind. I might be co-hosting your show. We got big things still to happen here, Shadoe. No old labels going on. We got fresh and new labels. That's what's happening. It's 2021. Yep. It's time to kill it.
That's right. 2020 wonderful.
Ooh, I like that.
Absolutely.
I'm going to steal that, and I'm only going to give you credit half the time.
Okay, that works for me.
Awesome.
Make it your own.
Exactly. On that note, we will see everybody on the next episode of the Make Money and Have Fun show. See you guys.
Thank you, Fred.